Welcome to Remembering You, a space for slowing down, seeing again, and gathering the parts of yourself that the world asked you to forget.
Each week, we wander through stories, ancient, personal, and collective, to explore how perspective changes everything. How what we look at and how we look can open doors to who we truly are.
Take a breath, feel your feet.
You've arrived.
Let's begin remembering you.
Welcome back to Remembering You. Today, Alice Ann and I are talking about polarity. Welcome back to Remembering You. Welcome back to Remembering You. Today, Alice Ann and I are exploring polarity. Polarity! Polarity. Specifically, the polarity of tension and release. Just like we find in music. You thought I was going to say sex, didn't you?
Ooh la la.
Tension and release creates meaning in our lives.
Ooh, tension and release creates meaning. Sure.
That is always where our growth edge is.
Uh-huh.
If tension never has release, or we could say resolve, then basically we burn out, we get discouraged, or we get bored, and we kind of decide to move on.
Yeah. So if polarity is tension and release, or what else? Like a give and a take, or a ebb and a flow?
Mm-hmm. Is there something from your childhood that you experienced polarity? What is a first experience? Maybe you didn't have a name for it or didn't recognize it at the time, but it was teaching you that push-pull experience.
That's a great question. Yeah, I think the visceral one that comes to mind is my friendships specifically with my best friend who lived 3 doors down. Her and I, we'd be thick as thieves one day and then hate each other's guts the next day.
Oh no.
Like
one of those.
Yeah, I mean, we just, we were kids, and so you don't have emotional regulation really to speak of. Like, you're still trying to figure that out. And, she'd do shit that irritated me and vice versa, I'm sure. And so, one of us would get our feelings hurt, and then we'd go cry home about it. And then our mothers would make us make up and shake hands and say, we're sorry.
How old were you?
Like, she was there my whole life until they moved when I was like I think I was about 13 when they moved. So like my whole childhood we played together. So my earliest memories, we probably started fighting when I was around 7, 6, Girls, I think we start that earlier than boys because we get socialized a little faster than boys do from a brain development point of view. Yeah, so we were having arguments and spats, lovers' quarrels. 7-year-olds. It's a very similar thing, just much more juvenile. Yeah. Yeah. I like that question. How about you?
So literally playing with magnets. My dad was an alarm technician for security and fire alarm system company. And it was the first company that he worked for. It was a small little mom and pop company, and they had the contracts for every National Guard armory in, I believe, the state of Ohio. So Dad traveled some weeks all over Ohio and would be in these military secured installations and working on their alarm systems and fire systems. And as I got older, I got to go along with him. So picture these huge secured buildings with vaults that, like, You have to have codes to get in, and like picture a bank vault. Like that was the security vaults in these military installations, and they would have rows of guns on the walls, along with who knows what else was in the boxes that I wasn't allowed to touch. I wasn't allowed to touch the guns, but I was allowed to count, and I would just
that's so fun.
Up and down. I was probably 11 or 12 years old when the first time Dad took me, and it was pretty cool to have that experience. So that's the backstory. The whole alarm system thing back in the day was just like with magnets, and it still is today. If you have a contact on your door for your home security system, it is a magnet. And so he would replace systems and equipment, and sometimes he would bring home parts and pieces of the old alarm systems. And there were some pretty big magnets that we would take apart out of the little systems and would use them with our toy trucks. So if you have a metal truck, you could pull your metal truck with the magnet, like just being close, not touching quite, but pulling it away, and kind of this cat and mouse dance with the magnet and the metal truck, and would pull it across the floor, and we would use magnets for all kinds of things that we would play with. So feeling two magnets in one in each hand and trying to push them together on the opposites, and then flipping it around and feeling it pull very quickly. That was an early childhood memory and first experience with polarity.
So why is it important? Like, why does polarity matter in our lives? I mean, you said it creates meaning, but obviously I imagine there's a bit more going on than that. So like, why should we care or pay attention?
So as we look at nature, take a moment and reflect on the effect of the polarity of the sun and the moon, light and darkness, morning and night. Like, that is so important for the natural rhythms in our world and our rhythm as a human.
Totally.
It's important to have those circadian rhythms defined and strong, so much so that the recommendation is turn off your lights and specific type of lights at night, and your body is unable to get into that state of rest and sleep that we need, that the rest of the world is experiencing when the sun goes down and the moon comes up. So nature is important. If you think of our muscles, think of good, strong workout. We're not going to build muscle. We're not going to have strength and endurance and good muscle memory unless we're using it. And if we use it too much, we'll wear it out. And so there's an importance of stretch and pull, and then allowing it to come back into a state of rest and ease and relaxation. So from a physical perspective, that is important. So polarity is baked into our fundamental physical and psychological needs as humans. And in our last podcast, we talked about assertiveness, autonomy, independence, control, and choice at one end of our needs. And at the other, attachment, belonging, togetherness, feeling valued and understood at the other. And those are opposites.
Yep.
Like, there are times in my life where I need to feel the power of being assertive and my autonomy. And then there's other times where I just need to really lean into attachment, belonging, togetherness. And I find that there are different seasons in my life where those needs are coming to the surface in different ways, and different parts and pieces and facets and levels of all of those at different times kind of come up. And it's interesting to just kind of notice, what is the push and what is the pull in my experience?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think I think what I take away from that is that it is utterly inescapable. Like, it is just like polarity is baked into the foundation of everything in the physical world and our psychological world, also our spiritual experiences, which we will get into. And it's I suppose it's one of those things that once you start noticing it, then you can't help but see it absolutely everywhere. And I suppose for me, it's been one of those helpful, well, like a compass of sorts, or it's been just another waypoint or a thing that I can orient to help me figure out, how am I right now? How do I need to move forward? What's the way to resolution? You know, it can be a barometer, I suppose, to help me figure out even where am I and then how do I get to where I'm trying to go.
Yeah, I think of supervisors and bosses that I've had. I've had some who were very pushy and some were very pulley.
Yeah. Yes. And coworkers are the same. Yeah. Yeah. There are some people who are just like kind of got this force field around them and you can't get in. And then there's others who are super grabby and like, come closer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a thing.
It can be a little bit overwhelming. I think of, our nation and all of there's just so much complication in our nation from its founding to where we are today, and scandals noted. We, at the beginning, had a sense, depends on who you read and what perspective you're coming from, that there needed to be a separation between church and state.
Very much so.
Like, church has a pole and state has a pole.
Yep. And
how do we have boundaries between both of those in a healthy way? We earn money, we pay taxes. There's a polarity there. There's so many things in our life that we probably don't even recognize that is a part of our push and pull. So let's unfold that a little bit and talk about some things that maybe are a part of our lives that could benefit from a little bit of light being shined into, oh, this is a polarity thing. And how do we experience this on all levels of ourself, and how do we find rest and comfort maybe from a power greater than myself? And what does polarity look like and feel like in community?
Well, I suppose then, in a way, polarity is maybe what creates duality.
Yeah.
Would you say that's true?
That feels very true. Polarity creates duality.
Yeah. So
us versus them.
Right.
Good versus evil.
Right versus wrong.
Night versus dark. Night versus light.
Night versus light. Yep. Well, and I think as humans, perhaps one of the most difficult things that we have to wrestle with in our lives is suffering. Like the way in which there is evil in the world, or bad things happen to good people, or, lack of fairness. That's and then, so I suppose the other thing that comes to mind is polarity is kind of sticky. Like this is a difficult terrain to navigate skillfully a lot of times.
Well, when I think about my upbringing in a very, I would say, Puritan spirituality or religious perspective, it was extremely focused on thou shalt not.
Yeah, like abstinence. And
yeah. So things that had a very pronounced polarity or a strong pole in our world today was bad. So rock music was bad. MTV was bad. Cartoons were bad. Anything pop culture, worldly, those things were bad. And so we were to flee from evil and youthful lusts, which didn't give us an opportunity to learn how to engage. What it did was it made the polarity stronger.
Right, exactly. What you resist shall persist.
Yes, my love. So everybody, let's take a moment and please do not think about the pink elephant that is behind you right now. It's not going to hurt you. It's your friend. It's actually whispering sweet nothings in your ear. But there is a pink elephant that you are not to think about right now.
Yep.
Case in point.
Yep.
So the further we try to get away from what we have identified as bad or evil or sinful, the stronger the pull towards that. Right now I have my right hand as far as I can reach. My arm is stretched out on both arms are stretched out. And the further that I try to get away from each of my hands from one another and put more space in between, there actually is more pull.
Yeah. They're trying to bring it back together.
They are. Absolutely. So that is the dance, or we could say it's like a contradiction. It's how do we build practices into our lives that don't make us run from the other, or what is different, or what is feared, or what is identified as this is bad, or this is not what I want in my life, without actually creating a stronger polarity between the two. And we do all kinds of crazy stuff trying to do that. Like I've talked about it before, but sex is a perfect example. Like I would memorize Bible verses about lust and have all these practices of being very strong with keeping eye contact and not looking up and down at a woman and seeing her figure. And it was so disconnecting because I couldn't love someone with unconditional, open-hearted and platonic love because I was afraid that I might lust after this person. And so there was a distance, or there was a separation, or there was a cutting off of actually seeing this person as a human, because I was actually objectifying them, trying not to objectify them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
I've never said it that way before. And that is exactly what we were taught and trained to do within that system of good and bad, holy and evil.
Well, and we've talked about this before, but of course, what immediately comes to mind is the way that I did the opposite. As a teenager, it's like, well, I've been told, no, you can't. And that just, all that did was create this huge rebel in me that was just like, well, fuck you, the hell I'm gonna do whatever I want. And I stayed caught in doing whatever I want for decades, until eventually that ran its course. But it's still, I see and understand and can hold my rebel, like it no longer has me, so to say. But I do, it is so, because it is just so deeply ingrained in who I am, it's sneaky and it'll pop its head up in all kinds of silly little ways. And so I am always having to keep an eye out for. So do you have to do the same for your like abstinence version? Not literally like sexual abstinence, but like your earliest sense of pushing things away. Like, do you have to watch that in the same way that I have to watch my rebel?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of when the shift happened. What's coming to mind is is money and finances and resources. And there are people in my life who I dearly love, that there is like this huge fear of poverty in their experience. And so they have an incredible drive to always have more, so much so that they never have enough.
Yeah.
And I would say it is an unhealthy relationship to the experience of having enough, because they never have enough. It's always more. And so the way that I related to money growing up needed to shift, because there were some ideas about money being evil.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the big sticky things.
It is.
In our human experience. Yeah.
It is. So in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10, this quote is misinterpreted. For the love of money is the root of all evil. And money is not evil.
Right.
But it is a burning passion for more. So we could say that it is an unquenchable lust for something. Is let's take evil in a sense of healthy versus unhealthy. Or when I say namaste and bow to someone, I am saying the God in me greets the God in you. But if I am so consumed with getting more, then I am missing the God in me, and I'm also going to miss the God in you. And so I can't do namaste in my experience. So what helped me within the spiritual context in relationship to money was beginning to see that money is not evil, having money. And then there's stories and people that are elevated within religious circles who have taken a vow of poverty.
Right.
And that is held up as the elite way of walking out the spiritual path, which I honor those who have joined an order and taken vows of poverty or chastity or, however their faith is and devotion is playing out. I think that's beautiful, and I honor that. And that is not my calling. And so there was shame around those points in my life where, there are others who are more spiritual, or there are others who are more devoted, or others who are more committed to their faith in a way that maybe is not how I feel called or what's important to me. And so specifically with money, I began to have a shift to see myself not possessing money or money being mine, but more of a perspective that I am just a steward, or I am a conduit for resources. And that took off a lot of pressure to control or to hold, or some of the desire to, I want to make sure that my life is more comfortable, or my sense of scarcity or fear of lack is mitigated in some form or fashion. And the more money I have, then the better I'll be. And then we have the crash of 2008. And I'm reminded of, I can save and I can diversify. And man, I had people in my life that lost all of their savings as they were either in retirement or about to retire. Awful. And really dark, and they still haven't dug themselves out, and they're past the age of retirement.
Right.
And
it's terrible.
It's awful. And so in me, that didn't create fear of, I need to make even a bigger pile of gold in my backyard. But it gave me a sense of, okay, things pass through, things come, things go. So in the big three, money, sex, and power.
Yep.
There are moments in my experience where I will feel a ping on a well-worn path in my experience from childhood. And it's almost like an invitation. Do you want, I relate to it as an invitation. Do you want to experience something that is familiar or was familiar within the context of duality, of childhood, of fundamentalist Christianity? And I think those little pings will probably always be there. Orion is the good little boy who makes everybody happy and feel safe and loved and accepted. And there's nothing wrong with being a good boy, except for me, that represents losing myself.
Of course.
And not having a definitive piece of ground that I'm standing on that I'm not going to move from, or a sense of self and what is true. So to answer your question, I can honor and appreciate resources. I can honor and delight and appreciate a beautiful human being. And I can give honor to who honor is due in relationship to power and authority. And there is not a whole lot of grab in my experience right now, which I'm grateful for. And the polarity was huge, like vast, in those three areas of, I think, how we feel the push-pull in our life and relationships and the world around us.
Well, they are the big three. They are the main, where we get lost very easily. I mean, I think any of us can stop and reflect just in the outside world and everything that's happening right now. And you can see very easily you've got sex, power, and money at the root of all of it. In that, it's very easy. So I was listening to another podcast yesterday. It was one that I had listened to a long time ago, and it was kind of coming back up in my universe. And the guest was talking about how power is where all of the energy is. So from a psychological perspective, if we think of, that spectrum of needs, the attachment and the assertiveness needs, the assertiveness end is where all of our power is. It's our vitality, our clarity, our choice, our freedom. And I think all of us can just feel the way all of that is the energy. Like, that's where our lies. And then at the other end, the belonging and the connectedness and the I want to be valued and I want to be seen and understood.
Giving away my power.
Yeah, it requires you. It's an openness. It's a surrender. It's a. I mean, and we need both deeply. And what happens when we decide that there is an other or that there is a bad? We are, in a sense, giving away or locking ourselves, blocking our access to our own vitality, because we're so, like, not having a healthy relationship with our own power and with the way that we relate to power means that it's going to get all stuck in our system somewhere. We're going to have either we're going to grab at it too hard and it's going to capture us, and then that wreaks havoc in our life. And then equally, of course, the opposite is true. And it's painful to watch systems of power operating in the world and not, like, it is very, very difficult to see all of that and to witness the pain that it causes and to not feel like the aversion or the desire to, fuck this, I gotta do something. And of course, I mean, we do, but we have to But internally, like how we relate to that on our insides, boy, if that's not going to teach you a lesson, I don't know what will. So anyway, it just, coming into right relationship with power is where our vitality and our creativity and our energy comes from.
This past week was the Grammys, and sometimes I'll pay attention to who's who in the zoo. And I enjoy artists who have a perspective or are connected to their creativity in a way that is not controlled or defined by the establishment.
Yeah.
And it's hard sometimes to look at an award show such as the Grammys and not see or feel that in some form or fashion, people have had to sell their soul to the devil.
Yeah.
Because sex, money, and power is on display in so many ways. As soon as people step onto the red carpet, there is and you can feel it.
Oh yeah, very much so.
And so I didn't watch the Grammys this year, but in my feed, I have had so many people posting things about the Grammys. And there was one specific individual, an artist, who was presenting their self in such a way throughout that night that I am looking at what they're wearing. I am looking at the energy they're putting forth. I'm looking and also listening to the words that they're using. And I have no desire to be a part of the power that they are identifying with or having to come beside for their identity to get more eyeballs, to get more listens, to get the notoriety and power that they are looking for. And it's challenging because as a creative, as someone who is connected to my soul and recognizing that there is something that my soul is here to create, and it needs to create, it needs to have an outlet, an outflow, regardless of commerce, regardless of if I make a living from what my soul loves and desires to manifest in the world around me. And we live in a system where it is looked at that if you aren't able to do what your soul craves to do and make a living from that, then you are somehow less than. Like your soul is not as beautiful or bright as those who are able to do that. And so being in a position of knowing what my soul desires to do, how to live that out and express that, and being content with that, even though it doesn't equate with being on the red carpet and wearing sexy and rubbing shoulders with power.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's all polarity.
Yes.
And it's uncomfortable.
Yes.
When we're honest with ourselves, what we really want, and then what we see without judgment. Because I don't judge those who are, but I do have some discernment as to what is true for me and my experience and what I want to identify and live out as my soul's true mission and delight, at least in the way that I understand it. I am curious, my love, when we first met and started our relationship. So your relationship to money, sex, and power was in, I would say, kind of a flux and a change in your experience. How in the last 10 years has that evolved or changed or shifted? Or what do you notice today that maybe you wouldn't have noticed about those big three back in the day?
Well, so I think the crux for every human is when, so the nature, we could call it trauma. We could call it just difficult experiences that we had earlier in our life that are still showing up in our present moment. And, you know, most people have to go through a process of just even becoming aware of that. You know, just recognizing like, oh, I keep doing this same kind of thing, or there's this area where I keep feeling the same pain and it's just not going away. Why? Any area where we've got unresolved patterns is going to create a grab, and one of those three are going to be involved. And I mean, other areas too, but certainly those three show up in our lives. And so when I met you, I had been in a 5+ year long process of really deeply diving into all of my shit that I had never resolved and never like really fully looked at in ways that I didn't even know were possible.
Your pain and your trauma.
Yeah. And I had been gaining a lot of new tools and new capacities and taking responsibility for my experience in a way that was like 100% me. That like I am the one that's responsible for my life, period. No matter how much of a jerk my best friend is right now, you know, so to say. I suppose, I mean, I could theorize about why it took the particular shape that it did, but it doesn't matter. I was leaned in really hard on the attachment end of the spectrum of needs. So I had started a community. I'd bought a house with another friend. We had multiple other friends living there and other family members. I was going to social events almost every single day of the week. Like I had been so deep in the ooey gooey, just warmth and joy and delight of community and friendship and intimacy and belonging. But I was sacrificing assertiveness. There weren't appropriate boundaries. There was not accountability. And there still isn't in that community. That's why I'm no longer a part of it. So I don't judge, like everything that I experienced was good and it was necessary. But I suppose like you were naming earlier, the discernment piece, so when I met you, I recognized immediately, oh, Ryan has that other end of the pole. And I had been searching for it in a way that I didn't quite recognize. I mean, now I can, in retrospect, look back and be like, oh yeah, I had kind of been looking for that for a while and not finding it anywhere in my community and feeling a bit frustrated. And I didn't quite even know why I was like, I didn't even understand what it was that was missing. But as soon as I saw you, it was just like, yep, there it is. That's what it is. And I was initially so excited. And I remember I had a conversation with you about, I mean, in a sense, I kind of asked you like, hey, can you teach my community how to do boundaries and assertiveness? And you were just like, absolutely fucking not. which
I did not say that.
Well, I mean,
explicitly
no.
And
not literally, but energetically.
So you can't create something within an ecosystem unless that ecosystem is willing and ready to lean in. And
I didn't understand that.
There was no willingness to lean in. No. It was only leaning out.
Right. All it did was create more aversion. And like the more I tried to...
It was...
It was such a mess.
It was not a fun... fun experience.
No.
So boundaries are... I would say that boundaries are, I think, not taught, but it's better caught. Like I've read books on boundaries and they only help me identify where they are or where they're not. And then I have to do the work of shoring up the buttress of my boundaried whatever experience in life. And it's not a, hey, let's do X, Y, and Z. And that's why having a small group or a partner that I can talk these things through, having a counselor, therapist, a minister, a coach, somebody that will listen to my stories and reflect back to me, oh, this is what I'm hearing or this is what I'm seeing, can help me once I start to ask the question.
Right. Yeah, you got to be asking the question.
What are healthy boundaries? But otherwise, it feels like you're trying to rain on my parade.
Yeah.
And it's not.
You are the party pooper.
Is not appreciated. Like, is the enemy, is the authoritarian, or is the establishment, or.
Yep.
And for people that know me, they know that I am not an establishment person.
Oh my goodness, no.
And it can feel or look like the enigma of what is yes and what is no in my experience, and then be projected as something that is not.
Well, I think in that, I mean, so one of the traps, oh God, and I was just in it for so long, well, 5 years. So one of the reasons that I wanted to talk about polarity was because, so the community that I grew out of is the like kind of new, that's the, like the new version of the late 60s, early 70s hippies in a way. It's the Burning Man community. There's lots of like singing bowl ceremonies and lots of psychedelics and ecstatic dance parties. And I mean, all of that is delightful.
So good.
It is.
So good on so many different levels. And it is necessary, I think, as a human for us to feel the flow in some of those ways.
Oh, 100%.
And not to be stuck in the whirlpool that will continue to swirl indefinitely in that space.
Yes. And so a big part of that community is polyamory, and there's lots of quote unquote tantra festivals. And so I would go to some. There was something in me that was like, okay, so they there would be some teacher at the front, and maybe they were just talking about like embodiment and, being willing to feel your desire. That was not something that I had a problem with. Like, my rebelliousness since the age of 16, I mean, if anything, that was my problem, quite frankly. There was something in me that could feel that there was something off about, it's like there was part of it was right, so to say, part of it was good. And that was the very confusing part for me. It was like, I couldn't tease apart, what is healthy and what is right and what is off here. Sexual abuse kind of runs rampant in those communities. I mean, I experienced it multiple times. And I know other women, I mean, I've watched it play out in like before my eyes. And so I knew that there was like something wrong. And what I understand now, what do I want to say? When you don't have accountability and discipline and healthy boundaries, you will not understand what it means to engage with money, power, or sex, and lots of other things in a healthy way. You're gonna get lost in it. And it's almost like when in the years since, the tiny bit more that I know now about the wisdom tradition that Tantra actually comes from has given me a depth of a humility and almost like an embarrassment reflecting back on my prior days, thinking, holy shit, I didn't know. Like it's somewhat embarrassing, but of course I didn't know what I didn't know. And so now there's this sense of deep reverence and awe. And I want to know more, but I also know that there's no rush. It's not like I need to go find a teacher right now. Like I don't have any grasp at it. So I guess what I'm trying to speak to is I've been in the years since I've met you, I've been walking the prerequisite steps that need to come before you go into polarity work from a spiritual, psychological perspective or tantra. Like there are some really deep fundamental structures and wisdom that has to exist before that. And so I guess what I'm saying is when I watch a lot of those new agey tantra quote unquote teachers, I can feel immediately in them that they do not understand. There is a lack of wisdom and integrity and accountability and boundary. And that's okay. They're on their path and they'll figure it out. But I recognize that. So I guess I know now how to engage in a space like that more so. And I'm just recognizing there is some pain in not having better developed, more wise spaces. That is hard to find in life. I wish the opposite were true, but that's just where we are as a society. Maybe would it be helpful to talk about what kind of wisdom and understanding has to come before one starts to engage with polarity on a psychological and spiritual level?
So if someone sees an ad on social media or sees a flyer at their local library on the bulletin board or has a friend recommend to them, hey, there is this great class that is going to give so much depth, wisdom, understanding to polarity and sex. Come join, be a part of this. What grabs us and pulls us in is our sense of I am not enough. Like there's something inside of me that is incomplete. Maybe even if I grew up in a Puritan world and focus, something that's broken. So in our consumeristic world, consumerism goes forward when there is not enough, there's a lack, there's something that I need or you need to fulfill our desires. So if you don't feel fulfilled in your sex life, then come and learn about polarity. So what is that framework missing? Like what would you say needs to be, because it can be true, yes, I'm not doing really well in my relationships. And so therefore my sexual experience is lacking. But what is the foundation that needs to be in place? Or what do I need to work on before I get to that step of diving into, I would say, the deep end? Yeah. But it's shiny and it's exciting and it sounds like it's going to come in a way that guarantees in 8 weeks I'm going to have the hottest, steamiest sex life in the world.
The only way I know how to answer that is through the lens of how the Buddhist wisdom traditions naturally evolved over thousands of years. And I can mirror that like to all of the Western psychological models that we have. But quite frankly, the Buddhists, I mean, their psychotechnologies are far superior to the Western world's. The Western, we as Westerners did contribute some very unique things that the Buddhist folks didn't, but that's here nor there. So first comes, in a sense, ethics and discipline. And so what that looks like in a very practical point of view is the willingness to sit in meditation or to show up on a yoga mat. But really, you got to have some meditation in that, because our attention, especially in this modern age, is so fractured. Like, we are constantly jumping from one thing to the next thing how many of us have a TV playing in the background or music on while we're cooking our food, while we're trying to have a conversation with our kids, while we're maybe checking our phone and answering some emails or some text messages? Like, we scatter ourselves profoundly, and that impacts us on the inside in ways that we're not going to recognize if we're not willing to first just sit and be with our own discomfort and not in a way that's like, in my prior life, I did all that, but I did it in a community context. It was like, come with me and let's look at my trauma together. It was always with another person. Like, I could only see it through the lens of the community that I was embedded in. And so I was avoiding my own quiet and my own stillness. I did not yet know how to be really, truly still, because it was terrifying. And so then in that process, you start to recognize, how am I using my speech? And what is the nature of my thoughts? And when our attentional system quiets down and starts to settle, then we see so much more. It's almost like if you shake up a bunch of dirt in a glass of water. And if your life is constantly on the move and, that dirt, it's always cloudy. You're not going to see clearly. And so sitting in meditation is, in a sense, just putting the glass down and letting it all settle so some clarity can come. And that, in that process, that can take a while to really develop some wisdom. Mm-hmm. And then needs to come emptiness practice or insight practice. Emptiness is essentially just the understanding that everything is constructed, that there is no fundamental substance to anything, including ourself. So this collection of cells that creates Alice Ann and my experience, there's a way in which I can be identified with who I am, and that is what creates a whole shit ton of suffering. Like, that is the grab or the aversion, one of the two. And so emptiness just helps us relate to that grab and that aversion in a more profound way. And then once we've mastered both the discipline piece and the emptiness practice, like once we've really understood what both of those mean and they're deeply integrated, then we can start to do polarity work. Because tantra or polarity, if you think of just how powerful power is, holy shit, you better have your inner world on point. You better be buttoned up. You better be able to see very clearly. Otherwise, you're just going to be utterly snowballed and bamboozled, and you're going to think that you're going somewhere, but you're not. So anyway, yeah, that is how I frame. Mm-hmm. And I know enough to know that I'm not ready. I've still got quite a bit of work to do before I could engage. I'm still figuring out boundaries, for God's sakes.
And the only way we figure out boundaries is within the context of using those boundaries, needing boundaries. Yep. So it's complicated.
It is.
Because we have to do it in real time.
Yep.
It's not like, oh, I'm going to think about this and then it is. It's.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not cognitive at all. Like, I think part of I know that, for example, leaving Dell was a bit, like, I was having a big reaction. And I know that I, like, overcorrected, but I didn't know how to do anything else. Like, I could not. I had been in so much pain, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse. And I've experienced other cycles of that in different ways over the years. So, like, I know enough to know that, like, that's just a reactive cycle. But I had to leave in order to figure out how to calm the fuck down. And I reckon, you know, I can feel there is a sadness in me in a way that is like, man, I wish I could have figured out how to stay and make it work. But it's almost like the environment was too intense. Like, I just couldn't regulate my nervous system. And there were some unhealthy patterns that I was engaged in and had been for years. You know, so sometimes all there is to do is to just, like, walk away and just regroup. Like, I'm naming that's one of the areas where my relationship to boundaries was so off that all there was to do was just, like, react. And similarly, like, the way that I left my community was also, it was a very similar kind of pattern. It was like this intense, just, I had to push it away because I didn't know how to stay regulated and also stay engaged with this thing that I'd had kind of an unhealthy relationship with for so long. And so I imagine, like, I am so careful with my relationship with you. Like, the way that my level of attentiveness is so strong because I know this tendency in me.
When I think about my poles, and so we talked a little bit of, like, how our poles are playing out in the world around us, but let's maybe take it a little bit deeper into our inner experience. And I think you are opening that door in relationship to meditation and emptiness practice and seeing what is true through the lens of the Eastern philosophy or religions.
Yeah.
There's a relationship that we have within ourselves that has been defined as masculine and feminine.
Yep.
And because we live in a patriarchal world, we always say masculine and then feminine. just naming it.
Yep. The boy always comes before the girl.
On so many levels.
Yep.
So in my experience, when I started to realize that there were these two poles inside of me, a feminine pole and a masculine, it was relieving, and then it was also a little bit concerning.
Say more.
And so the concerning is, I am a white heterosexual male.
Okay.
And I also have physical characteristics where I have had people ever since I was a young child say, you have beautiful eyes, which they're not complimenting me on, wow, you have big muscles. Okay, so they're focusing not on my masculinity, but within a patriarchal world, they're focusing on something that is like, I have never heard another boy told that they have beautiful eyes.
Oh, sure.
But I have heard lots of girls and women be told, yeah, you have beautiful eyes. So from a young age, there was this sense inside of me that I have some feminine characteristics about myself And how do I relate to that? And within the culture, when I was 12 years old and my Uncle Alan came out of the closet, it was a little bit scary for me because the family was kind of going through this process of disowning him and telling him that he is deeply sinful, and this is not my language today, but this is the language that was used. We hate the sin, being gay is sin, but we love the sinner.
Right.
And we don't love you enough to have you come to family gatherings.
Ugh.
We don't want you to corrupt our children and your nephews and nieces. So that was complicated in my inner story of who am I? Because people would see me whenever we'd go back and visit family and say, wow, you look just like your Uncle Alan.
Oh.
And it's like, oh, I'm not sure. Like, I love my Uncle Alan.
Yeah.
I adored and idolized Uncle Alan. And in my spiritual framework, he is bad. And yet my heart is saying something different about him. And what does this mean about me?
Right.
And my sexuality and how I relate to my polarity.
Yeah.
And so it was complicated.
Yeah.
What my sense of self was. And I've done work around the compliment of, wow, you have beautiful green eyes. And I respond to people today, thank you. I'll call my mom later today and let her know, because that's my thing. Whenever someone compliments my eyes, I always call mom and say, Mom, guess what? I got a compliment on my eyes. Thank you for giving my eyes, because I got my eyes from you. Yeah. And my mom has beautiful green eyes. So I've done the work where it doesn't feel complicated or messy or muddy, or I'm not sure what is going on inside of me. I lean into what I would say my feminine energies are every day in my work.
Yeah. Right.
Like, there is a deep listening and speaking from the heart that I practice with my patients and those who are experiencing grief and loss. And yet I also have worked on what is a healthy container to create some safety and sense of ground for a patient or for a family member, so that they can feel safe and secure and connect with their heart's experience and pour out their emotion in a way where I'm not going to bypass it or try to silver lining it or flow with it in a way where we both get swept away by emotion. Because early on in my experience, I would struggle with that, because as a highly sensitive person and a deeply intuitive, empathic heart, I would feel what people were feeling and would just be kind of whooshed away in that experience. And so having my own boundaries, not being cold and calculated and hard, but able to hold what someone's experience is and feel with them in a way that is not codependent, or I'm not losing myself in the moment of their emotion, has taken 25 plus years of being in this position. And so it's important to name that polarity is not just a topic about sex, but it's recognizing that on the inside, I have a feminine and masculine, I have a receptivity, and I have action, I have stillness, and I have movement, I have the ability to to be soft and also have a clean, crisp edge in my experience. And that comes out in different ways. I'm curious, what was your experience with starting to recognize your feminine, masculine poles on the inside?
I remember the first time that I heard, well, I don't remember where it came from, but that within each of us is a masculine and a feminine. And I remember just kind of having to mull on that for a few days, being like, what? Like, but I'm a girl. Like, what do you mean I gotta, like, am I, so I took, of course, like anything that's new, you kind of take it very literally. And so, but I mean, I recognized obviously that was absurd. It didn't take me too long to find like, oh yeah, okay, because I'm a psychologist, I was pretty familiar with like the psychological needs. And so that was sort of the lens that I put it through. And I was like, oh, well, yeah, of course I do. Yep. I need the independence and the autonomy and the drive and so all of those assertiveness needs. And I love, like, one of the ways that I think my feminine just comes alive is cooking. Like, I love cooking for people.
I watch that happen every time you cook.
It's so much fun.
I love it. It turns me on. It's so sexy.
Oh, that's delightful. You've never said that before. I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
But like, so in that, I think, so for example, in the way that when your kids come for the weekend, 9 times out of 10, I make a menu. And I would say that is kind of a masculine, like, I am giving a container because I know it's going to be a busy weekend and there's more mouths to feed. And so I'm going to figure out ahead of time, what groceries do I need? What are we going to do? I remembered as a kid how nice it was to have a menu on the refrigerator. It was like, I knew what was coming each day. And those are all very masculine, quote unquote, qualities. And so that dance is really clear and really delightful in my experience. And that I didn't have to like think about that. I didn't have to read a book on that. It just, like, my mom created a menu and it was always on the fridge. And so there are many masculine qualities that I got from her. Now, the feminine, she did not. So I think this is why, for me, polarity is so confusing and why boundaries are so confusing, because my mom energetically was really masculine, but like harsh and cruel. Like, her edge was really sharp, and she did not have hardly any feminine.
They were not kind or gentle
Oh
boundaries.
God, no.
And I think that is a very important distinction, is that when we're finding our no, it's not a reactive or an angry or a vindictive.
Right.
No.
Yeah, it's not a pufferfish saying no, which is all she knew how to do. And then on the other side, on the masculine end of the spectrum, my father is kind of like a wallflower. Like, he's not strong. He doesn't have a container. He doesn't have boundaries at all. And I mean, my mom just walked all over him. And so, like, my earliest patterning of masculinity and femininity was completely flipped on its head and turned inside out. And I'll be honest, in this society, it's hard to find a healthy man who's got clean boundaries and like has his shit together and either, isn't just looking for a mommy to take care of him and also isn't a fucking predator. like even I can't tell you how many men I've met who on the outside, they're, they don't come across as a predator, but they've got unresolved, in the community that I was a part of, it was it is absolutely a step in the right direction, where the men that I was surrounded with were at least willing to acknowledge that that is a thing within them, but they weren't yet in a healthy relationship with it. So they could see it, and they were willing to admit that, like, yep, this is a shadow that I've got, but it would still come out sideways. I mean, so at least they're willing to look at it, which is more than I think a lot of men are willing to do. So anyway, so I'm just naming that having a healthy masculine and feminine on the inside is really hard when it's kind of hard to find healthy examples of it on the outside. And then probably even harder still to have people in your life who are got their shit together on both of those levels.
I'm curious if you would like to talk about when we first met and how both of us were trying to feel into one another and to connect with our polarity. So oftentimes in a relationship, when a relationship begins, there can be this kind of a honeymoon phase where you're seeing all of the best in the person, the brightest, the beautiful. And both of us, because we were in our 40s on the other side of a long-term relationship, marriage that had ended, kids, there was a lot of world that we had experienced. And so we knew what we wanted to the ability that we were able to see, and I think had formulated, cultivated, embraced, and rested into wisdom as we were defining it in our lives. And so we even knew that. Like, we knew that at the beginning of a relationship, there's this whoosh.
I actually hate it. I was like not looking forward to it. Anyway.
That's interesting. We'll talk about that more. Because there's a lot there. And to stay on topic, what was your experience in our back and forth as we were getting to know one another, like mentally, emotionally, physically, like all of those parts are at work in the dance of polarity.
Yeah. Well, I mean...
So who is going to take the lead? Who is going to follow? Who is going to respect boundaries? Who's going to... and how are we going to... Like, there is so much there that is daunting when you're in...
It's a lot to navigate.
In a relationship. And it helped that both of us early on, like, had this sense of, okay, this is my person... for the long haul. And we don't have to figure it all out right now. But that also doesn't mean that I'm going to give away my power or what I value most. And so I want to be receptive, but I also need to be true to who I am and what I need at this point in our connection.
So your question is, how did I navigate all that?
Yeah,
what was my experience of it?
How did that feel to you? What was that looking like? Give us something practical, touchable, tangible, other than just the, oh yes, we have feminine and masculine energies, and this plays out in all of our relationships. And...
So when I showed up on our first date, I did not dress with my cleavage hanging out, for example.
You were wearing all black.
I was.
You had, I could tell you exactly what you were wearing.
Now, it was like
it was flattering.
Yes. It wasn't like I wasn't dressed like a nun, but I wasn't going to show you my boobies.
There was a sense of, I have confidence in my femininity, and I am not desperate. Yeah, I picked up on that right away.
Yeah.
And that was a huge plus. It would have been a big negative
I know.
Because I had gone on dates where
Yeah.
like their intention was to end the night
Yeah.
in their bed.
Yeah.
And that was not what I was looking for.
I mean, there's nothing wrung with that. Like, if that's what you're up for.
But that's not what I was looking for.
No, and it wasn't what I was looking for either. So, you know, and I would argue that like, if that's your intention, at least make it kind of like your profile should sort of reveal that. But anyway, that's here or there. It was obvious, I think, in our, like, and even in our texting before that, if you would text me, I didn't feel any urgency to like immediately get back to you or to double check on all of our plans. I mean, we had kind of been in this back and forth via text, I think for weeks, because your family was in town and then I was in California, and I think we had to reschedule. Anyway, so that too, I think, is another expression of there wasn't aversion. I wasn't leaving you in the dark with no response for 5 days, but I also wasn't texting you back within 5 minutes. And then at the end of our date, I mean, we had hours of really good conversation. And I think I gave you a hug, right? Did I give you a hug or did I even not let you give? Yeah, I didn't even give you a hug, did I?
So the restaurant closed down.
Yeah, we closed it down.
And we went next door.
Oh yeah, that's right. To the
bar.
Yep.
I did the chivalrous thing and offered to walk you to your car. And
Yep.
you were like, nope, I'm good.
Yep.
And I think you shook my hand and I shook yours. And you turned and went one direction and I turned and went the other direction. And I was like, oh, that is interesting.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
we had dropped in really deep.
We
and
did.
then all of a sudden it was like really closed and
Yeah.
tight down. And I'm like, oh, okay.
And so I would say, so that was for me the fear coming up, because I know that there is a honeymoon phase that's about to start and I am not looking forward to it, because I know I get lost and I know that I can get overwhelmed. And so I think that was kind of an expression of, I know I don't have my boundaries all figured out and I don't want to run myself over. And so that was just I got to put up a wall. I liked you and I didn't want you to feel like I was pushing you away, but I just didn't know how to be with the intensity while also holding on to myself, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So there was a dance in our first date of being receptive
Yeah.
to one another. And we were both feeling into, okay, where is the other receptive? Both in follow-up questions in our conversation, in our body posture, energetically,
Yeah.
facial expressions, like eye contact, all of that. Where's the receptivity? And then where is the action? Mm-hmm. Where is, okay, I need to take the lead and direct the conversation this way. And there was a nice kind of give and take. It wasn't as the guy, I didn't feel like I had to control or run the whole date.
Thank God.
And I had been on dates where like I had to keep the conversation going. And
Oh, that sucks.
like it was
That's hard.
just not
No.
a flow back and forth. There was stillness and there was movement. There was silence and there was talk. And we were, for the most part, I could sense that there was a comfort in those quote unquote awkward silences.
Yeah.
There
I was
wasn't-
really grateful that you were comfortable with those.
It wasn't awkward.
No.
So when I'm talking to men about relationships, I am listening for some of these things that we just named, you named, in our first date.
Yeah.
Like those energies and the back and forth. I'm listening for how do they relate to their partner, if we're talking about relationships, and let's face it, we all have things that are going well in our life, and then we all have things that are a little lackluster. And in the energy that's shifting back and forth, polarity between partners, there very quickly can be a default that I didn't feel in you, and I didn't feel like I needed to respond to a deficit. And I'll just name the deficit, and that is when I don't like me, when I'm not comfortable with what my energy or experience is on the inside, when I don't have unconditional love and acceptance. It doesn't mean that I'm turning a blind eye and making excuses for bad behavior or character deficit, but being able to love what is true. Thank you, Ram Dass. If I can't love what is true about myself, then I am going to try to control, coerce, and manipulate you to get what I want. And that is that I feel okay.
Yeah.
And so I listen for that when I'm working with men as a tool for identifying unhealthy polarity dynamics where they will default into this, I need to control. And that's power over.
Yeah.
And that's the way the patriarchy works in our world. And then the pendulum has swung and we've gone to another pole. And I would identify that as angry feminism, which is the same energy and idea of power over that patriarchal power embodies. And it's not healthy.
No,
in
but
either way.
But it is a necessary and unavoidable expression of collective
pendulum,
human consciousness.
The pendulum. So however far the North Pole is, there needs to be an equal and opposite response with the South Pole.
Totally.
And that is how far the pendulum is going to swing back and forth. And I think we're seeing the pendulum swing back in the opposite direction in some ways that not necessarily healthy within our world today, moving back towards a patriarchal, and I am kind of holding my breath in that space. So I just wanted to name all of that kind of big picture side of things. And let's take polarity and our experience in our relationship even further into some of the nuances of our experience together, to give even more insight of how does this play out in a healthy role as a couple is beginning a relationship.
Well, there's not like a recipe that's going to fit everyone.
Thank you for saying that. What? We don't have the 4 guaranteed principles for getting everything you want out of your partner?
I mean, this is a complicated space. Like, it's hard enough just on one person level. Excuse me. Let alone bringing in a whole nother human. The dynamics exponentially magnify. So anyway, just that. There is no easy answer to that question. But generally,
using the picture of a dance or a pendulum or the magnetic poles, there is this back and forth between two individuals that is new and exciting, and it's also scary, and
it's intense.
There's a lot of uncertainty. Because of the vulnerability that is required to be in this energetic space together.
It's almost like because I don't really know you, and that is what creates the intensity.
That's the polarity right
there. Exactly. And I think that was, so I knew that was going to come because, you know, I'd been down this road before with other humans, and it's like, I knew that it would be impossible to have any true clarity and understanding. I'm still discovering who you are.
I think that's important. We will always be enigmas to one another.
Yes.
And the moment that we feel like we have the other figured out is the moment that our relationship is gonna
be boring
to fall apart.
Right. Yes, exactly. And so in the beginning, when you know the least amount is when the polarity can just be so intense. And that's super sexy and juicy and fun. And boy, you better have your druthers about you. You better have solid feet on the ground, and you better have some good practices to like help move that energy and hold it and make sense of it and figure out what is just artifact. Not a thing with real substance, but just a byproduct of the experience, the dance that's happening, versus, you know, what is a thing to actually pay attention to, both internally and in you. And so it's just, I mean, both of us, I think, made the decision that we were going to jump on a rocket. Well, it kind of happened to us, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, our relationship just turned into a rocket ship unexpectedly. I mean,
there was intention until there wasn't intention, and then it just
happened.
Attention.
It's like, how do I hold on? So, but of course, every relationship is going to have a different. Some are going to have a real low and slow burn, and it's going to, you know, maybe they're going to be friends for 5 years, and then they're going to discover, oh my God, I actually love you. And, you know, I mean, there's all different kinds of shapes and sizes and expressions. But it was important for me to just be as honest as I possibly could, and to be clear with you about, you know, to be willing to say, I don't fucking know, or I'm scared, or I'm really excited. Hey, let's lean it. Like, just to be honest and to not have to think that I need to have it all figured out.
And that was exactly what I wanted. Because I would have been able to feel if you weren't being authentic with yourself or authentic with me. It's also important to note that, like, this is an opportunity at the beginning of a relationship to see how the other operates with misunderstanding and miscommunication.
Yep.
And when things aren't going the way
expected.
Yeah, because that is most of life.
Right.
Most of life is it's not going the way we planned or carefully choreographed in our experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the first story that comes to my mind when I think about this is my misunderstanding of you not liking much seasoning on your food.
Yeah.
Fast forward to our third date. So our first date was at a great little restaurant in South Austin and on South Congress, actually. And then you invited me to family dinner.
Yep, for our second date.
For our second date, and family dinner was with the community.
Yep.
And so I got to meet your tribe and fell in love with those beautiful souls.
Yeah.
And then the third date, I invited you to my apartment and was going to cook for you.
Yep.
And what I got wrong was you had mentioned just kind of offhandedly that you don't really like spicy food. And I love spicy food, but somehow I didn't hear that you didn't like spicy food. I heard that you don't like well-seasoned food.
So funny.
I have no idea how those lines got crossed. And I find myself that evening baking bread, making a dipping oil for the bread. sauteing yellow squash and baking eggplant parmesan. Mm-hmm. And in all of it, except the dipping oil, had a lot of like red pepper flakes and Parmesan cheese and salt and pepper. Mm-hmm. Everything else was like bland AF. So I don't know. Like I even made
the blandest vegetables possible to begin with.
I even made my own red sauce for the Parmesan, and it was awful. How can you make eggplant Parmesan taste terrible? Well, I know how to do it. So in that experience of misunderstanding, like I didn't know that I had misheard until several months later when it came out and you mentioned it and laughed about it. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, in retrospect, she didn't freak out on me or mock my food or make fun of me or tell me that it was awful. I think I watched you put salt and pepper maybe on your food, and I'm thinking, I didn't think she liked seasoning. Okay, whatever. That could have killed the date.
Oh, yeah, if I had reacted. Of course. Yeah.
So the polarity of me giving and you receiving, even though it's not exactly what you wanted and definitely not what I had intended, was a part of us beginning to figure out, okay, how do we relate to one another in doing real life?
Well, and because in that I could see and feel how much care and attention you put in. I mean, you made your own red sauce, you made bread, you had spent hours planning for that date, attending to it. Your apartment was very clean. I think there was probably soft music playing in the background. The whole environment was signaling to me, I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to enjoy being here. I want you, and I was just enjoying being taken care of. How delightful is that? So just because the food was bland, it was just like, it didn't even really matter. And, the thought that I remember thinking something like, well, he's a terrible cook. That's fine. It's not I'm a good cook. So it's not, it's not a deal breaker. That can be trained.
God's grace is sufficient for me in my moment of weakness.
Yeah. So there again, if I had, I don't know, some kind of like rigid expectation, or if I had insecurity around whatever, and then things didn't go perfectly, then there's going to be a reactivity. And it's that way, no matter if it's a date or you're at work giving a presentation or you're, kids doing something that you didn't expect. This is in every area of life. It's just how it happens. So it's like, what am I paying attention to in this experience?
So now tell us, what was the polarity like as we finished dinner and moved to the couch?
Yeah, we had our first kiss when you came over for the second date, right? Yeah. So we had kissed a little bit, but now it's like starting to turn itself up a notch. Like the desire is flowing. And that too, I was in a complicated relationship with. For a woman, it's hard. As a woman who's experienced a number of sexual assault incidents and rape, and always within the context of a relationship, it was always with somebody that I knew, and just patriarchy being what it is, this is complicated territory for a woman. I know it is for a man, but it's in a different kind of way. And so then also there's my own relationship with my own desire that is also complicated. And my previous relationship had ended 5 months prior to that, and I was still pretty heartbroken. And so there was that too. And it was just, I knew that I liked you, but it was almost like liking you was really painful in a way, because it was bringing up all of that. It was just bringing up all of that. And so I remember I would lean in and then I would kind of pull away. I would want to make out, so to say, and be close. And then I'd be like, okay, I just need to take a breather. And I would literally just say to you, like, okay, I just need to pause for a minute. And you were it was perfect. It was just perfect. You let me lean in and then you let me pull away. You did not react. And what I mean by let me, I don't mean like you gave me permission to. I mean, you didn't react. You were totally fine with how close I was and how far away I needed to be. And that, boys, men of the world, is how you create safety.
I didn't need to get laid that night.
No.
I didn't need the pressure of this is the third date, and by the third date, if it's moving forward based upon if you have sex that night.
Yeah.
I was okay with myself, and there was nothing that you could do or couldn't do or might have chosen not to do that would somehow connect with my sense of well-being.
Right.
Like I was good with whatever. And I think that is a gift that we, not just those who identify as men or those who identify as women, can give to their partner, but it starts with me.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
right.
I have to give myself that sense of belonging, and that sense of security, and that sense of connection, and that sense of all is well. And so expectation is important. I didn't necessarily name what my expectations were that night. I didn't say, oh, no, I could have texted you and be like, if we have sex tonight, that's okay. If we don't, it's okay. Just want you to know whatever happens is good.
I'm so glad you didn't do that. Oh, yuck.
I know some folks that have been that explicit, and it's just like, oh, you're killing the polarity in that moment, and any pull or push there. If you feel in a moment with someone that you're connecting with, there's no current, like there's no field, there's no transfer of energy. That is an important cue for you to reconnect with yourself and to make sure that you're not either overextending your power or you're not giving away your power to the other person and not having the benefit of the resistance within the energetic field. Because
very well said.
That's what we love.
Yes. Yeah.
So there was a moment that night where we're making out on the couch and things are going to progress in a different direction. And you did that, one of those moments of you stopped.
Yeah.
And I could feel that you're doing this check-in with yourself. And then you had a request. So describe what was the request and that experience. So
I asked if we could move to the bedroom, but your bedroom was full of bunk beds because you have 4 children in a 1-bedroom apartment. And I had seen the bedroom because I had to walk through it in order to get to the bathroom. So I knew what I was asking. And, I can imagine that some people might have thought that was an unusual request.
What a beautiful kink you have, my love. First time we're going to have our love making, and it's going to be on bunk beds.
But you understood intuitively what it was I was really asking for. So can you explain from a polarity
Yeah, so this
standpoint?
the small little apartment that I was in, on one wall is a sliding glass door out into a deck, and I'm a couple floors up. It's bright, and we're on my futon that turns into a bed in the living room space of the apartment. And I had gone hardcore minimalist.
Oh my God. I had so many. I did not know what to think think about that. I was like, is this guy a monk? Is he poor? What is going on?
It was so freeing and just an amazing spiritual practice for me in that time of my life of just letting everything go and only having a few things in my experience. And so, like, it was a wide open space and did not have a lot of definition, I think is a good way.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
I could feel your desire for safety, like almost like a cocoon.
Oh, yeah.
Sense.
Like, think tent fort. Like, that's what I was wanting.
Let's fuck in a tent fort. Ooh la la. Yeah. Wow, my creative juices and desires are strong coming online right now.
That's delightful.
Taking me back to my childhood.
Yeah.
Tent forts. And so I felt that, and it didn't, like, I could have responded energetically to you as, no, I want you right here, right now, in this way. And I'm the man. Or I could have collapsed and been like, oh, my space isn't good enough. And somehow I failed in everything from eggplant parmesan, which I didn't know yet, to setting the atmosphere for us to have some chemistry. And instead I took the middle way, which was, let's move. And there was just a nice flow into the next space and where we were and what was true for us in that moment.
Yeah, it's, and I think this is where the dance of polarity gets hard, whether it's a romantic relationship and you're on a date, or it's a long-term marriage, or you're trying to have a conversation with your boss at work or a friend or your kids. We all have needs and desires and expectations and assumptions, and it'll be revealed in that dynamic. Like, if I'm holding on to something, some kind of expectation, or if I have a baked in assumption and I may not recognize it, but the very experience between the two of us is going to reveal what my assumptions are and what my expectations are. And then being able to, your ground and your depth and your stability allowed you to be able to just flow with me. And my ground allowed me to be able to flow with you. And I think I can imagine, and I've been in this kind of space before as a woman, where you just kind of like want the guy to take charge and make all the decisions and do all of the things. And again, there's nothing wrong with that dynamic, but of course there's a risk in that you lose yourself. So anyway, so it's just to say that it's almost like polarity gives us this huge tapestry to see ourselves and find a way forward, or to keep ourselves super stuck. It's like, it is the evolutionary drive of everything. And so it was, obviously it worked out. Our third date was a success, because here we are sitting many years later. And I don't know, is there anything about that you want to name or talk more about.
From that story, I would just invite, if you are in a place in your life where you don't feel safe or secure or grounded or confident in who you are, and you want connection, you want belonging, you want to have this dynamic of a rich polarity in your experience with the world and a partner and all of that, give yourself a lot of patience and kindness. And it's important to start with finding yourself and finding your boundaries. And we can't do that on our own.
Yep.
And
That's
so
true.
Having folks who are going to support you in that process is vital.
Yeah.
Don't expect, like, it was, we both of us had done our 10,000 hours of experimenting and feeling and having failures, and someday we can talk about all of the failed relationships and
Sure.
awful dates and moments in community that were just terrible. Like, all of those are a part of what brought us to that point of being able to see and experience and hold and lean in. So I just want to put that out there. Man, you can experience things that you don't know are possible yet. And
Oh, yeah.
polarity is the guide.
Yeah.
It's not the enemy in your experience.
Not at all. Not at all.
Let's close things with an invitation to notice the polarity, the pulls and the pushes, the soft, the hard, the things that are inviting, the energies that are sending in your life today. And as you go through your day, pull up a note on your phone, or if you have a journal, take some time and just write down, hey, these are some very clear ways that I experience the polarity of the feminine and the masculine in my life. The flow of the river and the banks of the river, both. One is helping support the other, and the other is helping support the other. You don't have a river without banks, and you don't have banks without the river. And it is a part of nature, and it's also a part of our makeup as a human.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. As we say goodbye, I think we're going to go make a tent fort and practice some polarity.
Oh, boy.
Thanks so much, friends, for joining us today on Remembering You.
Yes, thank you.
Take care.
We'll see you next time.
Next time.